I do not know good morning, good evening, what we should address because what we are going to share this at the global level, so everybody will have its own clock and own interpretation of the timeline. Issue is that we wanted to discuss the intricacies of aviation, particularly the symbiotic relationship between the PR and aviation safety and the media, which is very important, this relationship. And going into some kind of background, how this four people met together and how we thought that we should do it. Few days back, I was listening to a podcast, and we were sitting somewhere, and Harbhajan and myself being good bonding and having worked for the organization or the department together, we were listening to that podcast together, and that podcast was none from Captain Amit, who is a known flyer and who is a known aviation safety expert. And few of it was 1 hour long video recording of that podcast, but the last 5 minutes was punchlines in the form of five ifs and buts of the aviation. One was that the professional shall be heard, okay. Second was aviation ecosystem shall be strengthened rather than bits and bits of the aviation. And third was very pressing that he said that learn from the mistakes. Then we realized that we learned from the mistake. And then Ramadan said, yes, we have learned a lot, and we have been facing challenges one after the another. And last 2 points also were very interesting, where we are associated because we serve the passenger, and he mentioned passenger is one of the stakeholders, and in the country we need a body which shall listen and due a due cost to the passengers. So with immediately we went to the flash memories of 30 years back. We thought of many accident incidents that came to our mind, but then Charki Dadri is unforgettable, unforgettable. But then just some time back, I was discussing somebody that I have to leave, that we are going to do a podcast at 8 o'clock. And then another point came into being. Since you are discussing, it is not only from the Charki Dadi we have learned a lot. Rather, there have been other accident and incident where the people have learned a lot. And first was an incident which was Airbus 320 accident in 1988. And they said that was a proving flight in which journalists were flying. And that crashed. And then there were a lot of learning. Airbus did it from that level. And then in India, before Charkidasi, in 1990, Airbus C-20 had an crash, which was Mumbai-Bangalore flight. And then there was a spool up timing issues were there. And the Airbus did the corrections in their computer so that the spooling is taken care. We are not going into the intricacies of what is spooling, etc. But then point which we are bringing home, that accident incidents are very sad, but something is to be learned for safety in the future. And Charki Dadri, why it was flashed, blood started running into our veins very hot, because we had seen the agony, we had seen the pain of that time, and not extended very much further. Harbhajan was at the helm of the affair at that time, and I always believe accident and incident aviation are reported by the airport people, and the golden minute, golden hour are very important for aviation accident incidents. So Harbhajan, I requested him that we should have at least 2-3 persons of that era who have been witness to that event, who knows how the media has been at that time, how the media has shifted from then and now, because media has become very powerful. Media is supposed to be powerful, one of the fourth pillar. but now it has become more stronger and more strengthened. And are we using that properly, efficiently, effectively to the well-being of the masses? And first, I would like Harbhajan to take us to that 30 years back uh, time. What was that day? How it happened? How he flashed that messages over to you, Harbhajan.
Good evening to everybody. When we talked about Charki Dadri, I get so tense that what is destiny it is. Man thinks something and it happens something. It was the evening of November 1996 when I was going back to my home in my car. The moment I reached, there was a flash that there is a mid-air collision between Saudi and Kazakhstan Airlines on the skies of Charki Dadri. Immediately, without stopping, I rushed back to the airport. It was a very, because I was in charge of the public relation at that time, and it was my moral duty to be there to help my colleagues, media, to tell them what has really happened. Immediately, when I reached at airport, all the airport was in action because Airport Authority has its prescribed aircraft airport manual where every person has been designated that in case of some emergency, so people will do X work, and everybody was on the road. The moment I reached there, lot of people are coming at the airport, and immediately I established there one control room which was already working. It was working for the passengers, for the relatives of the passengers, but I was expecting that all of my friends from media will come there to seek the information about that. And that day, everybody started informing all the airlines, all the hospitals, all the ambulance, everything, even the of nearby states to reach there. Immediately, a team of our rescue operation from airport, including the doctors with the available light-saving dogs, rushed to the site. But I didn't went there because I was handling media there, informing the people that what has really happened. In this incident, two airlines collided in the air. One was Saudi and one was Kazakhstan Air. One flight was landing at airport and the other was taking off from the airport. And in this, nearly so many people, around 349 people died. Next day, immediately I could stop my curiosity. With the next team, I reached to Charki Dadri by 7:30 in the morning. The moment I reached there, I saw lot of dead bodies, lot of debris scattered in the within 5 kilometer to 8 kilometer range, and there was a lot of people searching for the baggage of the passenger, and the dead body was lying there. Few were chosen, few were taken back. All ambulances were coming and taking them to the nearby hospitals. With this thing, by morning of 11 o'clock, the police and other forces poured out the area, and then it was in the safe hands. But before that, lot of villagers came there and tried to take away the luggage of the people. So this was the scene at that time.
Right.
I was really shocked to see a person, a young man of 25 years, with a new boot of Nike and a new cloth of brand, but his head was cut. And you see, that is the line. And one body I have seen,
Interesting.
a woman who was married with a new, his head was cut, but in his arm there was a purse. I opened that purse and find that this is so and so. With that, we place the name of that body and send it to the hospitals. So it was very painful scene, but nothing can be done. Now the question was, how to handle the media, because media was asking each and every information simultaneously. At headquarters, a media control room was established. But my friends who was from media, they had more trust on me. In spite of going to headquarters, they depend opinion. So immediately I came back to airport and start giving them the information. And the whole up to 10 days we were there and handling, providing information to the passengers and the bodies. And the very challenging job in all these affairs was how to preserve the bodies in the hospital. There was less space, less facility. Ambulance was going and bringing them back, but it was very, very difficult to store those bodies in the area. And that was a very challenging day. With this thing, I over to Bhavan.
Thank you, Harbhajan, for going back to that era, which is very painful, which is very painful and very gloomy. And since now 29, 30 years have passed, we can talk that so coolly, dead bodies, etc. But the people who have seen, people who have walked on those bodies, they know how ugly, how painful that scenario was. But then again, I always believe there is something to learn from everything. This incident has also brought a lot of good things. We will come into that, and we will also see the change, the media then and now. Before dwelling into that, I will go to Jha Saab, and then I will go to Amitabh sir. Sir, you can give your inputs, set the scenario in focus. Over to Jha sir.
Good evening, everyone. Like Harbhajan told the story of his side. So, from media point of view, I would narrate a few points. Like it was late evening, as Harbhajan said, he was coming to his home. Likewise, we were at the desk at Noida, and we got a message from our bureau that mid-air crash happened somewhere near the district of Haryana. So all resources from reporting were put in place. We rushed to the spot. It was night by the time, and we didn't realize we are at the ground zero, and all around there was bodies, burned bodies. Well, I can just one line, like I can sum up the horrible and painful and tragic scene I saw that night. We walked around on was it that like today, even today, when I fly, I remember that incident. And still, today also I feel flying a bit scary. That was the impact of that tragic incident that happened nearly 30 years back. And from, like Harbhajan said, uh, everyone, like almost all media person covering aviation or those who are covering other bits also, they were on the spot in the night. Instead of that was not the time of this mobile or instant media. So we had nothing to do at that night. Only that briefing, that incident happened, but not more than that. Meanwhile, our duty there was to help people, rescue team who arrived there, and in tractor and other mode of transport, the bodies were shifted to nearby hospitals. Our In the morning when we saw the impact, we were like in a state of shock. In the night, because of the streets were dark, we could not realize the magnitude of or the altitude of this incident. But in the morning we realized, and then see, but those were the days when media was not as instant. So but then it was like we depended on you people for the official statement. Exact factual information, and our reporting went accordingly. So that was the scene. But I must say that was a turning point in the aviation sector, where everything concerning to safeguard of aircraft passengers, that many reforms, I think, was put in place because of that incident, and gradually many new things came into being for safety. So over to you.
Thank you, Jasab. I know that keeping memories of that time is very संजो के रखी हुई हैं, because उन यादों को हमने, because that we have seen on our eyes, and we have touched those moments. It's very precious. That's the reason we thought we must revive them, and we will see that how the way forward. And I will come back now on the media points to the speakers who have already spoken, but I will go to Amitabh sir now for scenario building of that Turkey Darzi incident. Over to Amitabh ji.
Yeah, I do recall that incident 29 years ago, one gloomy evening it was. And we were about to leave the office. In fact, I had left the office. After a while, we had gone to the press club. We realized that a major accident has taken place on near Charkhi Daduri. So those days we didn't have mobile phones. So I called my office from the landline to my boss. Mr. Pankaj Vohra was the boss at that point of time. I called him from the press club and asked him if we are supposed to go to Charkhi Dadri right now. He said ki, we have already dispatched two reporters. The moment they got the information, they dispatched two reporters. And also newspapers have a deadline. We could not have carried stories because a newspaper goes to bed at around say 12 o'clock or 12:30. Hindustan Times had a huge print order at that point of time. It goes to bed by 12:30, and if some earth shattering incident takes place, only then it's carried out in the running. So he said, I have dispatched two reporters. In any case, we cannot carry eyewitnesses stories or human interest stories from the ground. So there's no need to come to the office today. But tomorrow, from tomorrow early morning, you straight away go to All India Institute of Medical Sciences. There you will see a lot of relatives of the persons who have died in the accident, and there you can try to get human interest stories from there. So next day at around 10:30, 11, I went to All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and a few bodies had started arriving in ambulances from there. The relatives, most of the relatives were, in fact, they were laborers. Those who were aboard Saudi Airlines, most of them were laborers going to Saudi Arabia for work. They were not affluent people. They were not tourists as such. Most of them were like that. And a large of them were from the Muslim community of Western Uttar Pradesh, which I realized later on. So it was a sad scene. It was an extremely sad scene. I spent almost the entire day there. In the evening, also, the bodies kept coming. They were hustled into postmortems. Many were just bundled into some bags. They were beyond recognize anything. It could not be recognized. And testing were done for proving the identity of the people who had died. And it was a tragedy of immense magnitude. But I still remember nowadays when I saw Air India crash being reported on the Ahmedabad crash being reported on TV. I saw that now TV journalism have practically it has become a kind of a vulture journalism. They thrust their mic into the grieving relatives, crying relatives. They need their quotes. But in those days, uh, TV was not there. TV was there. Doordarshan was there. They just used to show long distance shots. And we as reporters, we were empathetic to the people, the relatives who had died. We used to talk them about the incident. We used to take them into confidence. We used to console them, then ask them questions: who had actually died, what exactly was his age, why was he going there, was he married or not, his family members, just to look for human interest stories. And also, by reporting that, we were able to help people in the sense that somebody's father was there, somebody's uncle was there, somebody's brother was there. They gave the names of their relative, their son, their brother, whoever it was who was on the flight. So, in a way, we help them identify also. So those were different days. Journalism was conducted with sympathy, with empathy, not like these days when you just bring your mic and just try to get quotes anyhow you want to get a quote. The element of empathy has gone out of the accident. So I think we need to learn lessons there in reporting also, in journalism also. Covering an accident or a disaster of this magnitude, you cannot do this for TRP rankings alone and getting the quotes of grieving relatives. You need to show empathy to them. These are the elements which we have to learn. Of course, airport security, aviation becoming a foolproof thing, that is a different ball game altogether. That is too technical also. But these are certain things which journalists need to learn also. They need to find a way to report such things with empathy, with sympathy, with the human element intact in them.
So I would like to add what Amitabh said. Like it was not like there was no media trial those days. We also questioned why it happened. What was the problem? Why two pilots speaking different language could not get the thing right? So that the confusion happened and the crash happened. So we question everyone. We question the authority also, and we question the whosoever is concerned. But yes, we showed the empathy. We, with relatives and everything, stories went together. What was like
Right.
others? We
Absolutely.
focus on that, but that was a media trial of a different kind, not what we are witnessing these days.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
yes, sir.
Thank
It's
you, Jah
all,
Saab. Thank you, Amitabh Saab. I must mention the one of the God-given quality in the journalist is that they shall be able to read the mind of the opponent. And before I could come to the Air India 17 crash, Amitabh sir touched that. And Jasa got involved. You see, this is the quality of a journalist, that they should get the pulse of the moment. You rightly brought that subject into the right focus. And I was to come on that. Good, you have touched it. And I know there are potential reasons because of that. Media attention has been drawn towards that. And you rightly said what kind of a trial we're doing, whose trials we're doing, what is the intention and purpose of that trial. Are there genuine safety concerns, or media is oversensitized, or we are become the investigative process in our media. So now, as we had a thought in our mind after developing the scenario of that, uh, now our main purpose is that what the media has changed over a period of time, media of then, that time, and media of today. So media's role towards sensationalism, always have been propagating that in aviation we should not unnecessarily sensitize the issues, because fun to fly is linked with your mind, and there is a lot of psychology working behind the human mind for the pleasure of flying is concerned. And there are people who have got the flying phobia. We should not add into that numbers. And what kind of investigative journalism we are supposed to do of that time, and this what you rightly said. And are we working in the public interest? The very purpose of the journalism is that we should keep the public interest in mind. So, with these three perspective, media's role toward sensitization or investigative journalism or public interest, how we see then and now, I will see in the sequence. Jasav can address better on that, and then I will come to Amitabh sir.
So, also you rightly pointed out, like investigative journal. It is not like 2 or 3 decades ago there was no such thing what we are witnessing today. But it was entirely different. We used to work on a story, investigative story. It took at least 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. So it took longer time because we wanted everything in place, proofs, factual information, data collection, everything should be in place before we go to print. But these days, what we are finding that was like it's a you rightly say sensation. The sensation creation is more dominating than going deep into investigation, try to find out the truth. And even if you found out, it should be verified from documentary proofs of different sources, validated by everything. It was not easy to convince our editors. It was like cross examination kind of a thing, but from where you got it, whether like your sources are authentic or not. But these days, like getting one liner makes a breaking news, or without verification of data information, we are going to air or print. No, print. Uh, Even I think print is still have some credibility. They may not be taking 6 months for a story, but say 1 month or 15 days. But still, they have maintained that ethical part of journalism and reporting. So, like, see, the role of media is to bring the truth forward. So that was somehow I feel is missing somewhere. But, there may be a cutthroat region of cutthroat competition in this media, electronic media these days, or the major change we are seeing, like everyone today is a journalist with a mobile phone and a camera. So it's like well, you can I can't imagine this thing how will be progressing forward. Like we have seen the traditional media working, and now the modern media with a camera and this thing and social media all around. So news gathering has gone a revolutionary change, and but in that process we have lost some of the basic elements of journalism.
Right.
But
Uh,
I would also like to add, in context of this aviation sector, media played a very important role, not 30 years back, but over the period of 3 decades, because whatever reforms, whatever safeguards, whatever new mechanism uh, put in place, where somehow the media also contributed hugely in those reforms. But still, we need more reforms in terms of safeguard and this thing. But still, media will. I think media should continue to play a constructive role in this
uh,
context.
right. Jasam, you touched a very good point. Everybody is a journalist nowadays, and out of my curiosity, sometimes, and even a good photographer, a person who has got a hobby as a photography, and the moment you take out your mobile or camera, and people ask, "Sir, are you a YouTuber?" You see this new terminology. Are you a YouTuber? And then people think that YouTuber is everything. In olden days, the moment you are near a camera, people will ask, "Sir, are you a journalist?" Now people don't ask, "Are you a journalist or reporter?" People used to ask, "Sir, are you a reporter?" But now people
Yeah.
say, "Are you a YouTuber?" So that is the shift in terminology, technology has come. Over to Amitabh sir.
Yeah, in the last 3 decades, a lot of things. In 30 years ago, journalism used to be only print, and it used to be 90% print, 5% All India Radio, and 5% Doordarshan and other channels combined together. 90%, or say 85%, it used to be print. Now, what has happened is journalism has diversified like anything. In those days, there was no internet. 30 years ago, 29 years ago, when this Charkhi Dadri disaster took place, there was no internet. Now what has happened is everything, internet has revolutionized everything. Social media is a big thing now. If any Charkhi, just imagine Charkhi Dadri those days had people got mobile phones, they could have recorded the collision, mid-air collision also. The people on the ground could have recorded something. A lot of things could have come out. But now, like this Air India tragedy, which took place in Ahmedabad, people have recorded the moment the flight took off. It's what is called RAM, or that rotor system that came out, and the moment, and aviation security experts started talking about that the engine had failed or whatever. There was some pollutant in the fuel, something, whatever. People have started speculating that just because of the presence of mobile phones, everything was recorded. But in those days, it was primarily print, which was credible. It had a credibility in those days. It still has. So things have changed now. Anybody can post it on Twitter, that is X. Anybody can post it on YouTube, whatever, and they can claim to be a journalist. But in those days, that was not the case. You need to have a photographer to document it visually. You needed to have a reporter to have the eyewitnesses account, or the account of officials. Like Harbhajan Singh was an official there. His account was very important for people like us. He used to provide us information. And uh, that kind of information, the sources of information were the officials, people on the ground, people whom we used to talk to. Now, information is visual. You capture it visually, and that is information, and that information is consumed by people on YouTube or Instagram, on X, or other forms of social media. So it has completely revolutionized the things. We cannot imagine a scenario now when things are not documented, when we don't have any visual confirmation of things. In those days, that was not the case. So things have changed. I think this has changed for the better. But the only thing is that we need to use this technology, the latest mechanisms, everything, mobile phones, technology, internet, for the benefit of journalism, to make it more rich. Not like you said, not to make it more sensational. So that is the whole idea. To cover a story, to cover a disaster, or cover a news from a holistic point of view, covering all aspects without making it sensational, with and with a humane element. So that is the idea behind journalism. And things have changed, things have evolved, certain things have become better, like technology. But we need to combine the good things of 30 years back and the good things which are present now, and the fusion of all these two, technology and good journalism. This is what will make the future of journalism bright.
Very,
Rightly.
very, very rightly you flagged all the points which are very much relevant. And this concept of recording, you said that yes, people were able to record. People were able to record because they were curious to know, and they recorded the video, right? And it is quite possible somebody would recorded the audio also. And I know that there are people who could listen to the ham, and they could listen to the communication happening between the pilot and the air traffic controller also. And I do not know, somebody has recorded that also, or the technology will make. Nowadays we can watch our flight by minute, and you need not to ask anyone, has my flight landed? Because the children tell you, ki, Papa, see that flight has landed. and because people
Yes.
are watching the movement of the flight on their mobile, and if they
Yes.
can record, and maybe somebody would have recorded to the audio also, and then there
Mhm.
would not have been this confusion, who asked, who did, who replied, this confusion which is prevailing in the present context. And
Mhm.
another very important factor you brought it, sir, human factor. You see, human factor is very important. Deaths have happened. Human law. We have lost the human beings, but then there are people who are left behind. Their pain, their agony. I know you're looking at the watch. Time is very important. We will try to wrap up. But one or two more things which I in my mind is that the current aviation safety environment, the current aviation safety environment, because you have a long career, you have seen not only one, two, you have many accident, incident, but still we believe that aviation is the most safe mode of transport. You believe in that because it is our duty to reinforce the confidence among the travelers. So, anyone would like to comment on that? How safe is the aviation from your point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to come into that. Like this is holistically established. Everybody knows that aviation is the safest sector as compared to road transport or a train journey or any other mode of transport. Even if you walk on the road, if you are cycling on the road, the chances of accidents happening is much more than in an aircraft.
Right.
That is true, and the data from all over the world has proved that. There's no doubt about that. Aviation is the most safest mechanism, but still, we need to make it foolproof. We need to ensure that it remains foolproof, so that, like when this Ahmedabad crash took place, a lot of my wife and my son were supposed to take a flight the next morning itself, early morning to Mumbai, just after 12 hours. So they were slightly apprehensive about it. But I said, no, no, this is the safest thing. Nothing could be better.
Right.
So the only thing is that we have to learn from our mistake. But the problem is that from Ahmedabad tragedy, what were the mistakes? Have you learned anything from that? Nobody knows for that sure. So this whole initial investigation report which came out, people are doubting that. I just want to say that the inquiry commission reports or whatever inquiry happens, the foolproof mechanism, this should come out within a month or two, not after 1 year or 2 years. The preliminary findings of Ahmedabad crash has already come out, but the pilots association and everybody, they are not agreeing with that. They say that this was not a pilot error. There could have been certain other mechanisms at play. There could be some problems in the aircraft, whatever. Nobody knows. I'm not an expert on that. I don't have any. I'm not privy to any information. But uh, I came to know that the exact causes will come to know only about a year or so. That should not be the case. We should speed it up. They should come earlier, and we should learn. Only then we would learn the lessons. Like, I will also point out that Kandahar hijack, which took place long time back in around 2000, when the millennium year was. I was covering that episode also. So there were definite security lapses there at Kathmandu airport when this hijack took place. But
And a missile,
after
yeah.
that, we rectified everything. We made it foolproof. And from then onwards, India has ensured that there has been no hijacking as such. So similarly, if there is any human error at play or the error of the machines, that things need to be pinpointed out exactly so that these things are not repeated again. This is what I want to say to make it more safe, more secure.
I would like to add what Amitabh said. Every crisis or disaster or this thing, including a Kandahar incident, which we covered, I firmly believe that we have learned a lot from all these incidents. And Ahmedabad Air India crash, I also feel like if we read or hear that some flight landed or diverted or came back to the airport from where it flew. So that means that tells us or reveals us that the stakeholders like airport authority, be it airline service provider, they are taking things very seriously. Aircrafts are old. Some aircrafts are very old and they are flying because of high cost and investment involved with it. So, but now they have started taking any minor technical glitch also very seriously. That we are observing it. It's not it may or may not be correct, but what it is it? So likewise, if we learn from our mistakes or our past incidents, that is a good way forward for us for the aviation sector altogether. Or as Amitabh said, blaming without the completion of the entire investigation or findings, it is useless blaming anyone. Let the truth come out. But we also need to ensure that investigation should be fair and transparent, which accountability should not be like influenced by any of this thing like aircraft manufacturer or some other stakeholders playing a different kind of role into it. But you know,
Right, right. Very, very valid points we have brought in. And Amitabh sir rightly said ki what we should learn from accident and incident. No, I am able to recap when Charkidati accident happened, and the persons who were making the report. And Mr. Nair is no more now, but at many times we used to discuss and how intricately they were working not to find fault with individuals. They are working to find fault with the technology, where this has happened, how we can improve. And then they found that this kind of communication gap, which probably they identified, is because of the communication, because of a language barrier, right? They identified that.
Yes.
But it should not happen, though they found that there should be technology for that. The transponders were installed in each and every flight so that whenever there is any two flights coming closer, that it should not happen. They should beep, hoot, or they should get it. And then a few days back only, I was reading there was an incident 2 3 days back only. So then only we got reminded of yes, we should discuss the Charki Dadri, what it has given. You see, we lost so many lives. Harbhajan mentioned 348, how many lives we lost. But what those people have given us, they have contributed towards a more safe environment, which we are enjoying today. So with this, I think I got 4 or 5 minutes left. One punchline from everybody. What is the way forward for aviation, for media persons, and more on what is the role of media for the coming generations? We have got a lot of technology at our hand. How best we should use it, what for we use it, and Harbhajan has raised his finger. I knew that it will come whenever we talk about the media. He will raise his hand. First, we will go to Harbhajan and then Jasav and then Amitabh sir. And I think this will be closing statement. Still, if there is anything, we will cover that. Over to Harbhajan.
It was very good to listen both of them. Amitabh was saying there is a lot of change in technology 30 years back and now. But I will request him to just explain and make us aware that in the Ahmedabad case, the bodies were identified by DNA test. What was the system at that time? I don't think there was a DNA test at that time. Let Amitabh say.
Yeah, there was no system at that point of time. The only the the people physical features, or if the physical face was available only then,
Yes.
and there a lot of bodies remained unidentified. The
right,
flight,
right,
lot of bodies remained unidentified. and they could not be handed over to their relatives. It was it was very difficult period at that point of time. DNA testing was not at all there, but the flight manifest was there. So at that point of time, after when the flight manifest became available, people got compensation after when they proved that their relative was on their flight. But it was several bodies were left unidentified. It was a gruesome thing. I remember that
Yes,
clearly.
I still remember. I still remember during night, the children of the disease and the relative used to come. I accompanied them in the mortuary. They were
Yes,
afraid. They were
yes,
afraid. Then we went with torch with the guard. It was a horrible scene. Now
That was very
technology.
scary. That was
yeah,
very
yeah.
scary, Harbhajan. I still remember that.
By clothes, by some personal belongings, by clothes. That was the only method of identifying the bodies. Personal belongings, maybe some clothes, some shoe, some handkerchiefs, maybe a wallet or something. Otherwise, it was very difficult. So, if I remember correctly, around 60, 70 bodies were left unidentified.
Right.
They were buried in a one go. They were
Yes,
buried
yes,
in one go.
yes, 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 yes.
Harbhajan has brought a very valid point, very intuitive point. And but I tell you, Harbhajan, in spite of all that technology, technology is not a panacea. In spite of having the best of technology as of today, DNA, etc., whatever you call, still UK government has objected that we have given them the wrong bodies. So that's why we can the science cannot solve our question 100%. Now I come back to our last way forward statement. Over to Jasar.
I would conclude saying that, see, like technology has given us many things. That is good for also, like from media point of view. Now, within seconds, you get the news, which was not there at that point in time. But we should use this progress of technology very carefully and for the benefit of the people as a whole. And from aviation sector point of view, we need to reform. We keep on putting the best practices in the sector so that such incidents do not happen again. That
Good, very, very well said. Amitabh sir.
Yeah, media is evolving. Media is something which keeps on evolving over a period of time. So now is the time is we use the best of technology which is available to us, and also the best of what we was being practiced 30 years ago. So if you combine both of them, there is a fusion of technology and
Mm,
also a mindset of a good journalist, properly
mm,
trained journalist. That is the way forward to do good journalism. And asking, don't forget to ask questions. Ask
mm,
questions to the authorities, ask questions to anybody, ask question if it concerns airlines, ask question to the top bosses of airline companies, the
mm,
airports, the security person.
mm,
Just keep asking questions. When you ask questions, answers
mm,
would come, and that is the way forward.
mm,
If somebody evades an answer, there is a problem. Simply identify there is a problem. So
mm.
keep on asking questions to everybody, to the authorities. That is the way forward.
Very rightly said. In management, we say if you ask five whys on any item, you will reach to the root conclusion.
Yes.
Ask five times why, you will reach the final conclusion. You are right. We must ask question, question, and question. Over to Harbhajan.
Now, today, more than 30 years have passed. Things have changed. Technology has changed. But I must tell you that one thing which has not changed is the sincerity and devotion of
Yes,
Amitabh
yes,
and Jha towards
uh,
journalism. They
yes.
were good human beings at that time, and today also they are good human. I give you one. I will conclude this with my one example that when there was a lot of chaos on this issue at the airport, at the hospitals, Charkhi Dadri, there were a lot of touting going on. Then very quietly, I used to inform those elements to Amitabh and Jha. They used to write story in such a way that next day police was forced to catch those touts from the aims, from the area where they were claiming that they will get insurance to the family of the deceased, and their work done will always be remembered by the masses, but by me, honest, I salute them for their dedication, for their work, and for the sincerity toward humanity.
Right.
Over to Bahul.
Clock is telling me that I should wind it up. I think with the permission of everybody, we will wind it up. But
Yes.
the things I think my audience, myself, is going to take home back is fusion. Fusion, rightly, we flagged that it is the way forward we should work. At technology, nothing is absolute. You must have a fusion, and that's why we enjoy the fusion music. We enjoy the fusion art, and media also should use the fusion for its sustainability. And human element, we should never forget how much tech you may be. In finally, it is the human element and out of the box thinking. Very good point came from Mr. Amitabh. Yes, वहाँ दादरी चरखी दादरी जाने की जरूरत क्या है? कल सुबह एम्स में चले जाना और वहीं से आपको सारी ह्यूमन टच मिल जाएंगे जो वहां से लेने हैं. You should always think which is the right appropriate method of doing things. I am reminded of one incident. We I worked before coming to the airport authority. I worked in a cement controller office also. So one day there was a Dadri, there was one cement factory, and there was a strike. And the cement controller asked, What happened to the strike?" He said, "Sir, we cannot go there because there is a mob mentality. We cannot go." He said, "What are you talking? When you go to the railway station, you will see the chimney. If chimney smoke is there, factory is working. If smoke is not there, factory is closed." This kind of out of the box thinking is very important. And yes, you rightly flagged. And then more and more tools will keep on coming. But we should feel that uh, काम को बिना करे काम कम नहीं हो सकता और रास्ते को बिना चले रास्ता कम नहीं हो सकता. तो we will have to work, we will have to move forward to reduce our things. I think we will close this podcast at this point, but I must request all four, myself, I'm including, this is not the last one. We should identify, because as a media, as a journalist, it is our role. We should identify some flag points of our society, which like this we can discuss in a free quiet environment at our ease, so that there is no pressure on anyone. So we will think that if we can have some kind of repeatness in our subjects, we can dwell on that. And I call this as an episode one. Why I am saying episode one? I will come on episode two also, because when I have spoken to Harbhajan, my first idea was to bring this subject into motion and take the media point. But after that, I thought there are many people, technical people, also working behind the screen, who they do not come onto the media, or they were hesitant at that point of time. They cannot speak to the media, and the people at the air traffic control, people at the operations level, who contributed a lot in giving a future safe aviation to us. We will dwell on that also. And with the permission of everybody, shall I close? If anybody wants to say anything, okay. Otherwise, just thank you very much. And it is
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
thank you very much. You took your time, your efforts, and I think that this will gel with the audience, and audience feedback will be very good, and we will work more subjects on that. Right, sir? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So,
Thank
so,
you.
like, sir. So I close this today's meeting.